trade recap for the month of January 2025. Now, diving straight into it, we see right here that it was a profitable month for me, gaining 3 RR throughout this month with a win rate of 67% right there. Now, overall, what we see is that the first 2 trades of this month were winners right there, which I'm quite happy with to start off the year. The last trade right there was a loss. Now, it's a little bit nuanced because you'll notice, and what this is an ongoing topic as well throughout this trade recap, is that I execute on a futures, or well, I base my trades and I execute based on a futures chart. But my actual execution goes into a CFD broker. So there's difference between those 2 charts, which you'll see as well. But as long as you understand the thought process behind the trades, that's the main takeaway. That's the most important part. So without further ado, let's dive straight into it right here. You'll see I'm looking at the gold futures right here as well to fully break this down and understand what we did throughout this past month is that we were moving towards this all-time high sitting right there. On the daily, we can see this more clearly because on the daily right here, we see that we previously tried to push lower, failed to do so. We are respecting this daily fair value gap right here. Eventually, we start to reach into this next daily fair value gap sitting right here as well, where we get a larger rejection, this rejection that we see right there. Now, it's very, very useful, in my opinion, to also compare this to the forecast that we had at that moment in time, why I found it interesting, etc., etc. So at this moment in time, on that Monday, I mentioned, well, this is not that interesting to me because we have a large rejection. The narrative area is not too clear to me anymore, so I would like to wait. In scenarios where the narrative area is simply said not that clear, or we would like to wait for a clear narrative area, then I simply have the following steps. Is that when we don't have a clear narrative area, usually that means that we have quite a lot of momentum going against us. And even if that's not the case, then there's some kind of premium rate going against us. When this is the case, I simply want to wait for these bearish premium rates right there to get taken out, to then create those new discount rates, to then have a clear narrative area to continue higher from. So essentially, summed up, wait until we have clear discount rates. Very similar scenario that we currently have on gold, which is quite useful for your study as well. We have a very large wick at this moment in time. Now, overall, I'm still bullish, and that could very well change in the coming hours, in the coming days right there. But if we do want to continue higher, my narrative area is also not that clear. So I'm a little bit in between. I'm not certain what to do at that moment in time. The best I can do is simply say, wait. So if we do continue higher, then we will overtake those PD rates right there, create new discount rates to then continue higher from it. That's in a lot of scenarios what I do tend to do as well. Okay, then on the daily, what we see, and if we go into the 4-hour right here, on the 4-hour, you'll see more clearly, and I want you to notice as well the similarities between all these trades, which we'll get into. But there's a constant certain pattern on the higher time frame that keeps on developing right here, if that makes sense, especially for this month. Very interesting. So we have this 4-hour value gap going against us. We see we overtake that, we take out the rejection high right there, which means we run it, we disrespect the bearish fair value gap. Afterwards, we have this fair value gap right there. And we do the exact same thing. So after that, all that is left is highs essentially, which is this high right there. And we also have this high sitting right there, which are the next targets. And of course, the main target, which is why it's so interesting, is of course the all-time high right there. It's the main target that we are moving towards. So what we see and what we mentioned during the forecast of the 15th of January, which you can also take a look at if you do want to, we mentioned the narrative area is not too clear to me. And what happened afterwards, after that forecast, is that we all of a sudden have a very clear fair value gap right there, which we could continue higher from. We had a perfect sting into it right there. And afterwards, we see we respect it. That right there is a perfect stick entry for my trading plan right there to then continue higher towards those higher targets as well. So my entry was based on this candle, that down candle right there, which is respecting. I covered a rejection low because we have no reason of returning below that rejection right there to then target a simple 1 to 2 as well, sitting right there. I got taken out very fast and my take profit right there as well. And to show you the chart, because again, I use futures and that's a personal preference. It's not ideal, and I know it's not ideal, but the way I've always traded, and even when I was trading ES full time, what I did is I trade based on the futures chart, and then I compare it